Welcome to our Mr. Jack channel. Get ready to feel the thrill with scary stories and mysteries that will get your heart racing. Don't forget to subscribe for more horror stories. It was a quiet night during an 8-hour ghost hunt at the infamous Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. The group of amateur ghost hunters, armed with flashlights and cameras, ventured into the decaying, shadowy corridors of the abandoned hospital. As they climbed to the second floor, notorious for its dark history of violent patients, the air seemed to grow colder, sending shivers down their spines. Lisa, one of the group members, suddenly paused, hearing a faint whisper that seemed to snake its way through the hallway. Assuming it was a joke from one of her friends, she turned around, only to see them frozen in fear. "Did you hear that?" one of them muttered. The whispers escalated, transforming into eerie, fragmented murmurs that seemed to come from every direction. The oppressive silence of the asylum was now alive with an unnatural presence. As Lisa's flashlight began to flicker, she felt the chilling sensation of a hand brushing against her arm. A guttural moan reverberated through the corridor, followed by the unmistakable sound of dragging footsteps. Panic gripped the group as they hurried toward the stairwell, only to be stopped in their tracks by a shadowy figure at the end of the hall. The specter, resembling a man in a Civil War uniform, stood eerily still, his hollow eyes glowing faintly. He raised a hand, pointing directly at them, before fading into nothingness. Terrified and shaken, the group fled the asylum, abandoning their equipment in their desperate escape. That night, they swore never to return, haunted by the chilling memory of the ghostly figure and the whispers that seemed to linger in the air long after they had gone. Room 304 on the third floor of the asylum has long been shrouded in eerie tales and unsettling encounters. Known among the staff during the asylum's operation, it was the final dwelling of Eleanor, a patient plagued by severe paranoia. After her death, rumors of her lingering spirit began to spread. Visitors to the abandoned asylum often report hearing the sorrowful cries of a woman emanating from the room, echoing through the desolate halls. During a ghost tour, a bold skeptic named Dan decided to put the legends to the test. Ignoring the guide's warnings, he entered room 304 alone, armed with only a flashlight and a recorder. The room, cloaked in decay, felt oppressively still. Determined to debunk the stories, Dan began asking questions, hoping to capture electronic voice phenomena, EVP. At first, there was silence, but soon faint sobbing broke the stillness. Dismissing it as a prank, Dan continued until the sobbing grew louder and more desperate. A sudden, icy breath rushed his neck, and he spun around to see the faint outline of a woman in a tattered hospital gown. Her face was shadowed, but her glowing, sorrowful eyes pierced the darkness. Before Dan could react, the door slammed shut with a deafening thud. Panic set in as he pounded on the door, yelling for help. The guide finally forced the door open, but the room was silent. There was no sign of the spectral figure, and Dan stood alone, trembling. Later that night, Dan reviewed the audio from his recorder. Among the static and faint cries, a chilling whisper emerged, "Help me." The encounter left Dan shaken and silent, transforming a skeptic into a believer. Room 304's ghostly reputation only grew, drawing both thrill seekers and those who wished to pay their respects to Eleanor's restless spirit. The fourth floor of the asylum, once home to its most dangerous patients, is known for its oppressive atmosphere and chilling history. Among the grim tales, one stands out: the violent death of a patient in the 1940s. As the story goes, two patients killed another by pinning him to the floor and smashing his skull with a bed frame. The room where the tragedy occurred remains a haunting centerpiece of ghost tours, attracting those curious or brave enough to explore its dark past. During one such tour, Emily, a participant with a keen interest in the macabre, felt an unexplainable pull toward the ward where the murder happened. Straying from her group, she entered a room at the end of the hall, its atmosphere thick with an unnatural stillness. In the center stood a solitary iron bed frame, its rusted structure a grim reminder of the violence that took place there. As she stepped closer, the silence was shattered by the metallic clang of what sounded like chains being rattled. Emily's curiosity turned to terror as a dark, humanoid shadow emerged from the corner of the room. Its movements defied logic, shifting closer to her without taking a step. The figure's face was a swirling void, emanating an overwhelming sense of despair. Paralyzed by fear, Emily was consumed by a wave of nausea and fainted as the shadow loomed over her. When she awoke, the tour group surrounded her, visibly shaken. They told her they had found her unconscious on the bed frame, her arms marked by red, hand-shaped impressions that no one could explain. Though Emily refused to speak of her encounter, the tour guides later confided that she was not alone in her experience. The shadow, they explained, is a well-known presence on the fourth floor, believed to be the restless spirit of the murdered patient. Trapped in the final moments of his violent death, he continues to haunt the room, a chilling testament to the asylum's dark legacy.